Welcome to a weekly episode of Talk. We're your host, Eddie Marmolejo.
And Jaime Moreno.
Those to talk about this week, Jaime. But before we start with our topics, we always invite you guys to follow us here at Talk. You can do that by looking at the links below we have here for you. Follow us on Anchor FM, Spotify, and on our social media web pages by simply looking up Talk Media. Leave your comments, likes, dislikes, whatever it is, whatever you want to tell us. Please feel free to go ahead and contact us in any way. So let's get to it. Now, Jaime, I warned you about this last week, as we talked about it. The recall efforts in California. Now, we read this article on The Hill, right? The Hill. It's a fair publication. I would say it's a fair publication, right? It looks at congressional stuff. It's pretty fair. It talks about the recall efforts here in California. And it's towards the end, basically something that we discussed here last week. And what it's saying is, for one, Governor Newsom is now on an executive order to make all elections mail-in ballot only, right? So even absentee ballots. Now, why would Newsom do that? One, because he's worried, and two, because he knows that mail-in ballots favors Democrats. So he's pulling all the punches, make sure he has an advantage if he gets recalled, right? Say it's close. Let's say it's close. So he's going to make sure he has an advantage going into that election. But what I told you, Jaime, last week as we were discussing, is the worry I have of potential Republican opponents. And this article in The Hill clearly points that out. And I said, my worry with Republican opponents is that they're not recognized. They're not a Schwarzenegger type level of a figure that can unite either side. Right now, as the article points out, the most two prominent candidates were John Cox, who got obliterated in the last election. And then you have Mayor Falconer of San Diego. I don't know how to say your last name. Faulkner of San Diego. And the question I have for everybody is, do you even know he was the mayor of San Diego? Do people outside of San Diego know him? I understand he's done well. I understand he's done well for the city of San Diego. But we're talking in a deep blue state that this article in The Hill points out will be a challenge for anyone in the current pool to win because of name recognition. And it's something I said that was my worry. I don't like Newsom. I don't want him to stay much longer. But who is gonna challenge him? This is why I said that Grinnell, right? And I said Grinnell in the last episode, so I do apologize. Grinnell was probably the best candidate Republicans can hope for, just because of that strong name recognition. Jaime.
Yeah, not only with the name recognition, but also because he fits the typical candidate or ideal candidate by the Democratic Party. Because Mr. Grinnell, as you may know or may not know, he's gay. He's an openly gay man. Mm-hmm. He was under the Trump administration. He worked in a high cabinet level. Or was it cabinet level? No, it wasn't cabinet level, was it?
Well, he was the acting director of national intelligence.
Is that a cabinet level?
Yeah. Is it a cabinet position? Yeah, because he's he is.
It's a cabinet position?
Yeah, it's a cabinet position.
There you go. A high-ranking cabinet position, openly gay man. What Democrat doesn't want that? What Democrat isn't going to go behind him and support him? Which they should. If this man was a Democrat, they'll be all over him. They'll be saying, oh, he should be the hero. He'll be the first openly gay governor of California. He is the first openly gay governor, I think, in history, right?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any other ones.
Well, let's just not. I can sketch the last part, okay? Because we don't know if there's been an openly gay governor. I don't recall anyone, because I know that would have been all over the news, so I don't really know. I doubt that there's been a gay governor so far, but maybe there is, so we'll just put them aside. But just in California alone, where the Democrats predominate, Grinnell would be a good candidate because he's gay. And if he gets elected to the governorship, he'll be the first openly gay candidate or governor in California, the most progressive state, the quote-unquote capital of the gay community. Obviously San Francisco, but you know what I'm saying, right? The socially acceptable norm is that California, is where all the gay community lives in. San Francisco, San Diego, etc. right? But because he has an R next to his name, the media ain't gonna talk about that. The media is not gonna mention it. The media doesn't talk about how horrible he is, how he's a racist, maybe, how he worked at Trump, how he's the worst candidate, blah, 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 blah. So, like Eddie says, he's the only one so far with the name recognition. He fits the category. I also favor another candidate called Major Williams. He's black man. Another ideal candidate, another star, another person who fits the face of victimization of the Democratic Party is Major Williams because he's black. But the Democratic Party and the media isn't going to talk about that. They're not going to mention. I mean, obviously you can see him like that, but they're not going to mention it. They're not going to make him like, oh, if he wins governor, he'll be the first black governor of California. They're not going to say that. They're not going to mention it with the possibility. They're not. They're talking about how horrible he is, how he's a nobody, blah, 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 blah. So the double standard in reporting these candidates and getting their name recognition here is terrible. Only because these two candidates who would fit the mold of a good Democratic political runner, it doesn't. They're not going to get the recognition. They're not going to get the respect. They're not going to get the media attention. They're not going to get the support of social media influencers. Right. Why? Because they're Republican. Yeah, and that's the sad part. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope I'm totally wrong on this one because I have my own opinion of Gavin Newsom. I'm not gonna spend 5 hours giving it to you, but that's been my worry, and it's like getting published in a pretty like I said, fair publication. So I showed it to Jaime, and Jaime's like.
So the fear here, just to clarify, is that even though the efforts of recall goes through, and let's say there is a recall, that he stays in office.
Yeah, that's the biggest fear.
Like he survives.
Yeah, he survives the recall. He survives.
So that's the biggest fear. Like he survives the recall. One, because there's no name recognition from an opposing candidate. One. Two, California, we vote so blue in California that just straight off the bat, we're going to go blue, even if it's just Newsom on the ballot.
Right.
Right? Because we're that loyal to the Democrats. Right? And three, the other thing that made him stay in office is because the candidate is Republican. Oh, actually, that's part of two. He's Republican. And in California, since the predominant voting bloc is Democrat, we're just going to vote Newsom because he's a Democrat. Even though he's doing a shitty job, we're still going to vote for him because he's Democrat. And the other guy's Republican? No, we're going to vote Democrat regardless if it's the same guy we want to get out of office. We're still going to vote him back in office just because he's a Democrat.
But we'll see.
That's probably the other fear we have, and if that's the case, I'm just gonna be like, California, God damn it.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll see.
We'll keep you updated on those efforts. But let's stick with governors for a little bit. And as you all know, our governor, or as like one of my former professors dubbed him Governor Good Hair. Our governor here in California, he bought defective Chinese products. He did not seek legislative approval to buy said products. We find out that this company only sells defective health products, right? The defective PPE gear, right? And Rachel Maddow and the rest of the media called them an example of leadership. Okay, that's our governor. Let's go to the East Coast now, where Emmy Award-winning governor Andrew Cuomo got an Emmy. And the media said that he was the example of leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Through the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why he got that.
Especially because he was the epicenter out there in New York.
Yeah, and he's what leadership should strive for to being. Well, let's fast forward a year later. Now that same governor is being sought for impeachment.
The Emmy Award-winning governor is now under
governor now is
facing impeachment.
He's facing impeachment, and not because he gave a speech, not because he took a bribe, not because he abused. Well, yeah, he actually did abuse his power. I mean, if we want to get into it, but why did he abuse his power? Because he gave an order to put COVID-19 recovering patients into nursing homes.
with healthy.
And then he tried to cover it up. And now you have the FBI and the state attorney general's office looking into it, right? And there's claims that he was threatening people in his own administration to lie about it, or he will smear them. That's the claim. That's the claim, people. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying that's the claim. Now, Emmy Award-winning Governor Andrew Cuomo, the pride of the nation. That's a very National Socialist.
No, that's nasty. The pride of the Democratic Party.
Pride of the Democratic Party.
The leader of the anti-Trump.
Because it was anti-Trump, is now facing impeachment. It's just funny how the governors that were. I'm surprised Whitmore's not on this list yet, but she probably will be. The two governors that were the shining stars of the future of the Democratic Party. I mean, Cuomo was sought for president, and you saw that Newsom is trying to say he's going to run sometime. But one bought a defective PPE gear and put it into and passed it out, and the other one killed grannies and got an Emmy for it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And these are the people that the Democratic Party look up to.
And the media.
And
remember, the media is not biased, right? They talk about truth.
Yeah, but y'all ridicule us here, like people like Emmett Talk, when we thank Trump for getting us the vaccine. The vaccine that y'all laughed at him because he said he was going to have it by the end of the year. The vaccine that many people are taking right now.
Thanks to President Trump. So you worshipped these two governors. You gave one an Emmy. He killed people. The other one put people in danger with defective gear. And the guy that basically sought to have a miracle vaccine got thrown out of office and then impeached. All because of a fake narrative. Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
It really is. It really is unbelievable, because it comes to show that just because the media is Google guys and slobbering over a political uprising, just because it happened. The same thing happened with Avenatti.
Yeah.
The lawyer who exposed Trump with, Stormy Daniels. He should be like, I have a friend who literally works in the news, okay? She's a cool lady, whatever. She's a cool friend of mine. I know her for a while. She went to interview him, and his aspirations for president, how he could be the challenge to Trump and blah, blah, blah. That same man is in prison right now. It doesn't surprise me. Extortion.
Yeah.
The rising star, political future, could be president, should run for president. Everyone's all googly eyes slobbering all over him, how he's anti-Trump, how he stands up to Trump, how he's not afraid to head on, to speak truth to power, is in prison.
Yeah.
Now Cuomo, the same guy who throughout the whole pandemic, people are like, oh, that's how you do briefings, that's how it's done, that's how it's supposed to be, is now being impeached. Now is being investigated for obstruction of justice, for hiding, for, threatening.
It's insane.
People who died unnecessarily because of the governor's decision, right? Now he's been investigated. Not only that, he now has sexual harassment cases coming up against him now. All right? So what we're trying to tell you is that... Yeah, we're not saying that Donald Trump was a saint, and we're not saying that he's the best of best. But at least the man, right, tried his best to get things going. He did it wrong, maybe said it wrong, maybe it was the right move. Yeah, towards the end, he probably said some questionable things, but he tried. And while the media bombarded you with this whole hatred against the man, right under our noses, we had other men doing worse atrocities.
Yeah.
Right. But the media isn't standing up to power against Cuomo, isn't standing against power like they're doing with Newsom. They're not standing up to power to these men, just like they did with President Trump.
Yeah.
With President Trump, they thought they were all ballsy and tough and truth, and we're here to save America. Why aren't they doing the same energy that they used against President Trump? Why aren't they doing it with these governors? Why aren't they?
Yeah. And
because
hopefully
they're Democrats.
in New York, Jaime, and New York might be interesting because Democrats have to put the impeachment. It's weird how their House rules works. I was reading into this. A Republican cannot present articles of impeachment because they're in the minority party. It has to be Democrat led. So Democrats in New York have to have.
Whoa! That was confusing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
Only the political party or the party that's in the majority?
Party. Only the major political party can introduce articles of impeachment.
The party that's in power.
Yeah, the major political party.
No, that doesn't make sense. Major political party.
The party in power. The major party.
There you go.
Okay, the major
party in the majority.
In the majority, yeah. So they have.
You made it sound like only Democrats can do it and no Republicans. That's what it sounded like.
Well, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's it. Because Republicans are in the minority, they can't introduce the bill.
It has to be the party in the majority.
The party in the majority. That's what says. So that's going to be. So the question then becomes: will Democrats push for the impeachment?
Will they follow through?
Yeah, follow through. So we'll see. We'll see. It's getting momentum in New York. They're holding rallies already. So we'll see. But
yeah, especially by the citizens whose grandparents or parents died because of such negligent and cruel and violent act by the governor. But well, we'll see.
We'll keep you posted. But let's stay a little longer in woke America. You know, be like we're now a woke society. If you know what we're talking about, please tune into last week's episode of Talk, where we talk about woke America Phase 1. Okay, talk about education system. Let's talk about Coca-Cola. Okay, that's the big trend this week. Coca-Cola. Coke has gone woke. Yeah, there it is. Jaime. There's Jaime. Okay, so Coca-Cola, in efforts to teach their employees about racism, are now telling their employees to somehow be, I don't know, less white.
What the hell does that mean?
Exactly. I don't know what that means either. But you have to be
How
humble.
Do you become less
you have to be
white?
humble. You have to be conscious to the privileges you have. You have to be all these things.
Okay.
In order to promote equity in the company. Look, I understand that in today's society, a company is going to try to cover its bases just in case there's a lawsuit and the lawsuit states, well, I never had any racist training. Well, now you have your racist training. That's not the issue. I get that. I get that.
I never had any racist training. That's going to be part of OSHA now?
I get that from a corporate perspective. Jaime's laughing because it's loony, and it is. Why? So
it's going to be part of the OSHA training manual. So all occupational safety hazard has to have racism training.
Here's my thing. Why is it that it's only whites being targeted? Exactly. How is that not racism alone? You're literally systemically. Oh, yes. You are systemically. Yes, I am using the big S word. Systemically targeting a group of people.
You're using a woke word.
I'm using a woke word. Excuse me. Thank you. You're systemically targeting a group of people. Systemically saying that they're racist just because of their skin color. How is that inadvertently not racist as well? This is the general consensus that is being promoted throughout the public, that white people, as a race, are racist and privileged. Never mind, there's factors in our own communities that prevent us from reaching goals, that prevent us from taking that next step. That our own decisions do not allow us to take that next step. Everything we told you guys this about last week, what they're doing in schools, and now you're seeing it in the workplace. It's sad, and we're gonna get more of this. But now, Coke. But the point is that Coke
and it's unfair. Honestly, it's unfair for the white community or white people, because there's some white people who we're putting every blame from the past on whiteness,
on this generation's white people.
Yes, generations that probably have no responsibility, nothing to do with, should not be held accountable for the actions of people in the past. Right? And that is unfair. right? It is unfair, completely unfair. And these people who are promoting and who are furthering this mentality, who are mobilizing behind this mentality, who are celebrating this kind of mentality, you guys are wrong and you guys are sick. Why? Because not only are people suffering mental illness and depression and self-loathing and hatred and people committing suicide at a larger rate than before, now you're adding on this that because you have a certain skin color, you are now responsible for the suffering of everyone else, and you should be ashamed, and you should hide, and you should be ashamed of yourself, and you should punish yourself because of the color of your skin. That is the most stupidest, unprogressive, anti-inclusion, anti-equity mentality that there could be. That's dumb. What is a white boy responsible for something that happened a long time ago? We're not denying the past.
Yeah.
But we're saying that why you held them accountable, just like you wouldn't like to be held accountable for the faults of your grandparents. Just like you don't want to be held accountable and at fault for whatever your grandparents did in the past, right? If you don't want to be held, why are we making white people carry that burden? Racism exists. It does exist. Are there racist people? There is.
Yeah.
Do they need to change their mentality? Yes, they do need to change their mentality. But you know what? You cannot blanket code everyone as racist.
Yeah. Well, that's another example of woke America. There it is, Coca-Cola now the latest victim, right? But let's move on. So the biggest thing we saw over the last week was Ted Cruz's unforgivable trip to Cancun. Now,
oh God.
Okay, so I understand Texas had maybe like a once in a lifetime winter storm. Okay, I'm not making jokes of other people suffering. I'm just saying how occasion. What's the occasion like? It doesn't happen every year. Okay, it doesn't happen every year. But Ted Cruz, you can argue maybe he should have canceled the trip, given the events that was going on in Texas. You can make that argument. I would understand it, right? Just wait till the trip is over, see if the state needs help, whatever, how you want to word it out. Takes a trip, okay? And AOC and the Democrats invoked everything but a Marshall Plan of food delivery to Texas. Now they're raising funds. They're raising any help. It's all over Jaime's favorite online website. Now this, it's Jaime's favorite website. I'm waiting for the Vice interview for AOC
for such a heroic activity.
I'm waiting for Axios. AOC was a UN declaration away from being a Woman of the Year for helping Texas. Here's my question. One, where was she when the mayor of Austin, right, issued a lockdown order and then goes and hosts his daughter's wedding in Cabo? Where was the care for the citizens of Austin when that happened? Question: what state does AOC represent?
New York.
New York. Where was AOC collecting funds for the people that lost loved ones in those nursing homes after her governor decided to put COVID-19 recovering patients into nursing homes? I'm just asking. Where was the call for hospital ships? I mean, where was the call for the UN to come in there? Where was USAID, to help them? Where were those funds, AOC? Where were those funds? Do you only collect funds when a Republican decides to take out a vacation? I'll give you it was the worst time to do it, but where were those funds? This is the thing that pissed me off. Don't try to virtual signal me, right? When you had people in nursing homes in your own state dying because your idiotic governor decided to put COVID-19 patients, but you're all over Ted Cruz because I understand that you want to create a rivalry with him because he called you out and then you called him out and then you said he was trying to kill you and then you accused the Republicans of gun smuggling. I get it. I understand that. But where were you? Where were you, AOC? Where were you? I understand that what she does is effective because people are like, oh my God, she's so caring. She's so lovey-dovey. Isn't she cute? One of my coworkers said she was hot. I'm like, dude, she's dumb. She's dumb. Where was she when these people were dying? Where was she when this mayor in Austin issued a lockdown order?
While he was in Cuba. And Cabo.
No, not Cuba. Cabo.
Cabo, sorry. Yeah,
he went to Cuba. I'm like,
while he was in Cabo. I did correct myself.
Yeah, no, but Ted Cruz going to Cancun. I mean, the man was lacerated in the media, and then he did his whole little apologetic tour, and I'm like, dude, you shouldn't even have to do that. You could just say, my bad. I had this trip plan, but I'm back. I shouldn't have gone. Fine, whatever. But I mean, what pisses me off more is AOC's hypocrisy straight up, and people on the other side are gonna eat is like, you're just mad because she's attacking one of you. No, dude, it's because people were dying in New York and she did nothing. It's because there's this mayor in Texas also who went to a vacation and nobody said anything. But my guy, and Ted Cruz is my guy because I think he should be in the Supreme Court, but goes to a vacation in Cancun, excuse me, and the wolves are out.
He's the worst ever.
Yeah.
No, I agree, Eddie. I agree 100%. And the hypocrisy. See, it's so obvious. The hypocrisy of the media and these elitists and the Democrats is so obvious and in our faces, yet people refuse to believe it or see it. Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage when Governor Newsom went out to dinner with friends?
I keep forgetting Newsom.
Right?
I don't know why you didn't talk about. Yeah, we're in California. What were the funds to pay our tax dollars back for that $1 billion deal?
So Governor Newsom goes has dinner, chatting with his friends, while all of us aren't allowed to even visit family, and all of us aren't even allowed to have a meal together. But Governor Newsom is able to go to a party, maskless, in California, just chilling like nothing, while we're over here abiding by rules that are unfair to us. So, where's the outrage there? There's no outrage there. It's just, he apologized. We'll take his apologies. Yeah, his apology where he's grinning the whole time, pretty much wants to laugh in our face for having to do an apology, which was so insincere and so robotic and so nasty. And we spoke about it here. And let's go back and talk about it. Right? Where is the hypocrisy there? Where is the outrage by the media, social media, influencers, movie stars and artists, meme pages? Where's the outrage in that? There is no outrage with them. Where's the outrage for what happened with Cuomo? There isn't. Yeah, it was a bad optics, a bad timing that the Senator Cruz had to go on vacation with his family. Texas has never had that before, and it was a bad timing. We get it. He came back. He's doing his job. But the outrage, right? We're not saying that, he's a saint, that Ted Cruz is a saint, but we are saying that with the same outrage and offense you have with Ted Cruz, where is that same offense and the outrage over the Austin mayor, over Governor Newsom, over Governor Whitman? All because they're Democrats. And because majority of newspaper workers are registered Democrats, they're not going to make a big deal out of it. Yeah. And that's that part. Yeah. So
let's stick on with
it's just annoying.
Let's stay with Democrat hypocrisy. Now, I remember a certain presidential candidate who said that he will do anything to get immigrants into this country. He feels that the last 4 years of the Trump administration have been a horror story for immigrants who are trying to make it to this country legally and take the benefits of our great society, right? Take part of it. I mean, not take part of it. Taking part. Now, this same person is now president of the United States. He won. And Jaime, what is he doing now?
Yeah, the pro-immigration, pro-humane, pro-loving children, pro-loving immigrants, pro-open borders is extending and opening new detention centers, or as AOC calls it, cages, concentration camps for unaccompanied minors that arrive at the border with the United States.
So I mean, let's clarify something. I understand the policy behind it. You're trying to keep non-infected kids from infected kids. I understand it's a lot. I understand you can't reach the parents, but also understand it's something we argue here in MM talk about. And why is it hard to find these kids' parents? Because one, maybe they want to use them as leverage for when they come to the border and try to get asylum. Or two, you can't find them because you don't know where the parents are. Or they're being used to basically be, to smuggle people across the border and to pretend to be their parents. This is the dilemma we're facing. And we said Joe Biden's going to face the same dilemma. I want to see what happens. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. Anything but welcome in to this country makes you Trump.
Yes.
And here you are 3 weeks into your, almost 4 weeks into your, 4 weeks into your presidency, and you're facing the same problems that Trump faced. What are you going to do with the people at the border? What are you going to do with unaccompanied children? Oh, you reopen his detention center. You know, the one that Trump built? And you put kids into things that look like bungalows or like containers with air conditioner. I understand it's difficult, but we argued about this, and for that, you called Donald Trump racist. You called us unsympathetic sellouts. And we said, no, we understand the difficulties on the ground. And here you have Joe Biden putting unaccompanied children into containers or cages or in concentration camps. Speaking of AOC, I wonder what's going to take her, how long it's going to take her to go visit them and go cry facing at a tree again.
Yeah, where's the waterworks from AOC about these new detention centers?
Now, she did criticize Biden. But I want to see how long it takes her to go down there and stare at a tree again for a photo
op. Make a whole scene.
For a photo
Yep.
op. That's what it was. It was a photo op. I don't care. You don't care. I mean, you kidding me? She didn't even care about the grannies in her state. What do you think she's going to care about? Some unaccompanied children from a foreign country. Get out of here. It's
exactly.
Ridiculous. But Eddie, what are you talking about? You're just a Trump supporter? No. So Jaime and I tune into a segment in Al Punto by our favorite immigration specialist, Jorge Ramos. Now,
he's our guy.
Now, Jorge Ramos had Senator Padilla, a newly elected Senator Padilla here from California.
He wasn't elected, newly appointed.
Excuse me. Thank you. Newly appointed Senator of California. And then he had Director Garza from the Liberate Initiative, right? And they present their points of views on immigration and what is difficult of getting immigration reform passed. Now, keep in mind that the words I'm about to utter out of my mouth come from our Democrat senator. He states, he was asked, Senator, so our interview is going to probably be airing in a lot of Latin American countries, right? What is the message, right? Because according to Joe Biden, since he won, they believe they have the right to come into this country now, that he will let them into this country. Senator Padilla's response to this was, I'm sorry to tell you that the current immigration reform is for people that are in the country already.
Which it should be.
And that means taking care of the dreamers, taking care of undocumented immigrants that that have been in the country, pay their taxes, right? We got to take care of these people first. So you mean to tell me that the border is not open? And he's like, no. I'll put the link below so you guys can watch this interview. It was a great interview because it's
in Spanish though.
It is in Spanish, so for you English speakers, I do apologize, but for you Spanish speakers, I urge you to watch it. Because we're finally getting some dang straight answers on immigration reform. And to hear a Democrat senator from California, right, say that the borders are not open, like Joe Biden said, and like the Democrats want, and that we first have to fix things in the country and establish law and order. I was like,
that sounded something like Trump would say, or has been saying.
Or something like we've been saying for I don't know how long. Okay, so
we have been saying this for a long time. We have.
And then you have Director Garza, right, from the Liberate Initiative, and he asked, "What is the what is it? What are the difficulties? What are the difficulties in immigration reform?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, Jorge, the problem with this particular bill is that you had Democrats trying to act unilaterally and put all their ideas and all their visions in without compromising with Republicans." He says, "I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. Immigration reform is not about one party's ideology over another. It should be a bipartisan effort." And I'm like, please do go on. And then he's talking about, well, we need control of who comes in. We need protections in the border. We need to control all that. And I was like,
Wait, did he just said racist comments about that? He just uttered white supremacist,
he did,
anti-immigration rhetoric,
uttering white supremacist comments. But let's go on. He said we need control in the borders. We need to control who comes in. We need to limit the number of people. And I'm like, go. And then he was like, and most of all, it needs to be bipartisan. You know, we tried this a couple years ago. Oh, you mean the Gang of Eight? He didn't say that, but I'm pretty sure that's what he was referring to. And he's like, yeah, and it was. I mean, and the problem that it failed there is because it didn't have bipartisan support. You need bipartisan support. I know it's been 35 years, but the reason it fails is because one party wants to put unilaterally politics over this initiative, and it's not going to get sold by the other party. What Joe Biden and the Democrats are doing right now is not going to work. And I'm like, good, keep going. And I'm like, so what we need is bipartisan support. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
We were excited for that. We were excited
because
for that.
It's the honest response on immigration reform, and I'm glad it came from a Democrat, and I'm glad it came from this guy who's running a grassroots movement to try to help people out. I was so glad to hear that, because in Univision you hardly hear that, and I was like, yes. These are the kinds of things you need to understand, and I'll give Jorge Ramos his credit, because he was trying to push. Okay, so but the Democrats are saying that they have the right to do this because they want. He's like, no, Jorge, you got to understand that that's not the way we got to do things. I'm like, talk to me. I'm like, keep going. Like, talk to me.
Yeah, especially because when Joe Biden first became president, he wrote an op-ed saying that the only way to get true immigration reform is if Democrats win.
Yeah, and he's saying
a majority, like a large majority, to pretty much say that they can do whatever they want regardless of Republicans, because somehow Democrats are nicer. But whatever, that's a whole different argument. Now he's realizing that even though, because he did mention it, because Democrats have 50% of the Senate, they need Kamala Harris to break the tie vote, and they'll just get it. And this man, what's his name, Garza? Garza said that no, that is wrong. That should be bipartisan support, because if you do that, you put yourself in the same position down the road, where you're in the minority and the majority just rules without any input from you. That is the wrong way to govern.
Yeah. So that's the.
So the thing here, the hypocrisy that I see here with the detention centers is that where's the outrage? Where's the protests? Where's the marches? Where is people standing on the streets marching about let the children go? Where is that church here in our local community with more cages there for as a matter of fact, this Christmas I want to see the little baby Jesus in a detention center, just like they did with the cages.
Where's Pedro Pascal?
In protest of Trump.
Where's Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian? In his picture, remember he had the picture back a couple of years ago. He said the kids.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I mean,
where is he? Where's the outrage? Oh, because Joe Biden's president and he makes an overflow facility for unaccompanied minors. Oh, it's better. It's nicer. Yeah, he's doing it for a good reason. Yeah, for the past 4 years, the same President Trump did the same thing, but he was racist. He was xenophobic. Where's the outrage for Joe Biden? Where are my Latino community organizers? Where is Chirla? Where is Voto Latino? Where is Mi Familia Vota? Where is Telemundo? Where's George Ramos? Where is Telemundo? Jorge
Ramos did it, so you can't call Jorge Ramos on.
Nah, he didn't do good enough job. He wasn't standing up to him like he did with President Trump. Don't give me that BS about, I asked them and they accepted the answer. No, just like he didn't accept the answer from them orange man and was standing up to power,
keep calling
he
him
should
out.
do the same thing.
Keep calling him out.
He should do the same thing.
I agree.
Should do the same thing. Call out. I mean, I'm going to say it in Spanish. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it in Spanish. Con esos huevos que le enfrentaste a Trump, agarra esos huevos y enfrenta a Biden.
Oh, man. Yeah, no.
Quick translation. With the same balls you were confronting Trump, use those same balls to confront Biden. Translation. And that's all I got to say about this. I'm going to piss off.
No, but no, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing that, like I said, we finally get some honesty out of a Democrat who gets that you can't have open borders. And you're right, the hypocrisy on this issue, it's underwhelming. It's the same thing. It was the same thing during the Obama administration. Nobody knew about the gassings in the border. Nobody knew about the mass deportation.
They didn't want to report on it. They didn't want to make a big deal. It goes
against the narrative, and as we as conservatives, we get it, but this is the problem. What we're trying to convey you is two things: the double standard for one, and and how complex this issue is. It's not complicated on the basis of race and all that. It's because how many you're gonna have people, how many people are gonna come in, and then how you're gonna enforce it. Those are the questions you have to ask over and over and over and over again.
Because we have immigration reform.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say you have immigration reform up to today,
right.
February 24th.
Right.
Anyone who's in the country illegally, undocumented, whatever, before February 24th, and you prove it, we'll get papers. Right. We'll get citizenship. Let's just say that. What's going to happen to the people who get to this country undocumented or illegally, whatever the hell you call it nowadays, without permission?
Undocumented.
Right?
That's
undocumented on the 25th of February.
Yeah.
What's going to happen then? And those people are going to come in April, and in May, and in June, and in 2 years, and in 3 years from now. What's going to happen to them?
Yeah.
So we're going to end ourselves in the same cycle again, right? Because we're allowing people to come to a country undocumented, and then we'll give them citizenship down the road.
Yeah.
Right? So you have the same cycle over and over. Even if we have an overhauling, on point, bipartisan immigration reform, there's still going to be breakers. There's still going to be people coming into the country undocumented. Why? Because we have encouraged this activity by praising these undocumented people as justifiable for why they're coming. We understand people come here for need. We understand that we get that we're children of immigrants ourselves. But the cycle here is continuing to come here undocumented, living in fear of deportation, being overworked, being exploited by employers and employees because of your illegal status, right? And then continuing the cycle of what are we going to do with the undocumented problem? What are we going to do with the undocumented problem? What are we going to do with the undocumented problem? Because people keep coming and overstaying their visas, coming and just hopping the fence and staying in the country. People overstaying their stays or whatever it is that they're in here undocumented, however, whether it be through hopping the fence or through expired passport, we're still going to have the same problem down the road. So the solution is we need to enforce the laws.
Yeah.
It's unfair. It is going to be the same cycle. If they do an immigration reform and it passes tomorrow, and 10, 20 years from now, I guarantee we're going to have the same conversation again for people who come to the country undocumented after the fact. Just like it happened in 1986 with the last immigration reform we had under Ronald Reagan. Only some people to a certain point, right, were able to get paperwork. Everyone after that weren't. So this immigration reform is as a consequence of the people came after the last immigration reform.
Yeah, and the thing is, the $4 billion this Biden plan promises certain Latin American countries is not going to help. We have thrown billions and billions of dollars until we have deregulation of national institutions in these particular countries, have free open markets. We don't have the government's money in the pockets. You're not going to have that. And the thing too is, it's a cycle down there too. And those countries have to find a way to fix themselves first and to stop people from leaving their country. These mass exodus are because of government corruption and unwillingness to have good, steady jobs. That's what it is. And crime, of course, right? Well, poverty to crime, they're connected.
The cost of living and stuff too.
Cost of living and all that good stuff. So you have to fix those countries have to find a way to fix that first. And you can give all the aid in the world you want. You could throw billions, but you still have the same problem.
hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped. Throwing $4
So we're not
billion.
anti-immigration. We're not anti-immigrants or anything. We're just saying like this cycle is continuing and it's hurting a lot of people in the long run. It's creating anxiety that is not necessary. You're creating a problem that you shouldn't cause yourself. Right? They're causing your own suffering. And that's a sad thing. That's what we want. We advocate for immigration reform. And this MM Talk, you have been advocating for immigration reform from the beginning. Since Trump became president, immigration reform. Fix DACA. Finally fix DACA. Right? But no. They use it for political points instead.
Yeah.
So like
DACA, I mean, DACA is, I get I said, that's why I supported DACA because I said, I'm not going to blame children. I'm not going to separate children from their parents. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. Optically and humanly can't do it. But DACA, the execution of DACA and the constitutionality of DACA is my biggest argument against it.
Yeah, and only that, you're pretty much delaying deportation. These people are never going to get citizenship. Never going to get green cards. Never going to get anything because as soon as they stop paying DACA and renewing it, they're out the door.
Yeah,
that's how ridiculous DACA is.
Yeah, and remember, DACA is still executive order, so it has no legal teeth beyond the next president. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
So basically, to sum up this area is that Biden, the man who's going to do the opposite of Donald Trump, is doing exactly the same thing Donald Trump is doing.
But now it's morally acceptable.
Expanding the facilities,
But now it's morally acceptable.
Yeah, but now it's okay. Now there's no outrage because it's not Trump, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. The hypocrisy is insane. Immigration reform, it's not going to be the one-all solution until we stop giving the incentive of people to get to this country illegally or undocumented. And 3, like Eddie says, is that I lost my train of thought right now. The cycle, the unwarranted suffering because of such activities is draining to families, to children. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. The hypocrisy of people not getting outraged over Trump. Where's the protests? Where's the rioters? Where's all these organizations protesting Joe Biden for opening and expanding these detention centers? So until then, all those people who claim to be like, oh, so concerned about immigration, shut up.
Well, the last thing I really want to briefly mention is HR 484, the No Glory for Hate Act. Okay, this is not a woke act. Okay, no glory for hate. It sounds woke, but it ain't woke. So, this act basically does not allow federal funds to commemorate a former president that has been impeached twice.
Wow, the hatred towards Trump just gets better.
How do you know it's for Trump? I mean, it's just any president that has been impeached twice.
Well, I mean, because I that's the only one I know that's been impeached twice.
How dare you? How dare you come?
That's the only one I know. That's the only one I know. I don't remember any other president has been impeached twice.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly mention that.
That's actually a vendetta. That's literally a legal vendetta. That's not law. It's just a vendetta. It's just trying to get back at Trump because he won the impeachment.
So Andre Carson of Indiana introduced the bill in late January, right? And so I was like, really? I mean, I was like, how many presidents have been impeached? I mean, Donald Trump twice, by the House, Bill Clinton. That's it, right? Who else am I missing?
Pretty much.
Jackson? Was Jackson? No, it wasn't Jackson, was it?
It was Grant. No, not Grant. Johnson was impeached. Johnson was impeached. Clinton.
So Johnson in 1868, Clinton in 98, Trump in 2019 and 2021.
And 2016. And
so hold on. 1, 2, 3. There have been 4 impeachments in this nation's 250 plus years, and the only one that doesn't qualify for federal funds to be commemorated is the guy you hated.
How convenient.
How convenient.
Yeah, it's like the dumb rule with Disney where they want to put Trump on the Hall of Presidents because they don't want Trump on there. That is the most stupidest thing ever. Like the man or hate the man, doesn't matter. He still was president, whether you like it or not. And if you think some president's ruin your life, then you're dumb.
All right, and with that, we'll leave it here, man. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Please, guys, leave your comments and messages directly. You can do it again by going to Anchor FM or Spotify, and also through our social media pages by looking up at MM Talk Media. And with that said, I'm Eddie Marmolejo.
I'm Jaime Moreno.
This is MM Talk, and remember, we're tired
of it too.